Fans of the product from around 2007 all the way to 2015 may remember just how prominent a player Big Match John really was, and not in a good way. He didn't earn the Big Match nickname for nothing, playing a big role in marquee matches year after year. Biggest problem for most was the fact that Cena's character, whatever is even there to begin with, really never saw a change. He's the epitome of white meat superhero WWE propaganda babyface, and he stayed that way all the way until he finally hit Hollywood halfway through the 2010s. And thank God, taking time to recuperate from losses has done wonders for his part-time career, but the fact that the superhero didn't turn villain a single time for so many years was pretty devastating when it came to creative.
I got it. How about a little heel turn? You see, that's the excitement that I'm talking about.
Number 3. Yeah, maybe that split had good reasons behind it. According to WWE's own programming, Cena laid out a finely detailed contract for Nikki Bella to abide by while they were publicly dating. Craziest of all things is the fact that WWE themselves are the ones who publicized it before then going against their own decision and trying to classically rewrite their own history. During the first season of Total Bellas, Nikki confided in Brie about her contract with Cena, with lovely little tidbits like her referring to him as his guest. In the event that I ask you to vacate the home, you agree to immediately vacate the house and remove any and all items you have brought into the home as soon as possible. What the is that? That is a direct quote not even George Lucas could muster up. According to the man himself, the sign dotted was to ensure his fortune was safe and he could continuously provide for the woman he loved for the rest of his life. I don't know, man. Maybe do it without being such an asshole.
I've been thinking about your paper.
It's something that's necessary.
Being practically unpacked, I felt like you were being selfish.
Steph's. Back when Cena was a bad boy Vanilla Ice ripoff, he got himself into some spicy moments with the authority figures. For example, when SmackDown General Manager Stephanie McMahon came out and hit him with an interesting proposition, slap my ass and, well, nothing else. But hey, getting to say you're the one and only man in history to consensually slap the billion-dollar backside is pretty an interesting title. Nope, Cena's never won the Intercontinental Championship, but he has palmed Stephanie McMahon on the ass and following it up with one of these strangest celebrations I think I've ever seen.
My God! And he did! Oh, man!
Fun fact, John Cena's taken a underneath the ring before. Roll credits. Cena wasn't exactly feeling himself before a taping, but decided to superhero up just like John knows how to best and told his food poisoning to go itself. The food poisoning reciprocated and ended up thrusting some disgusting out of his body at top speeds halfway through the match, causing Cena to roll beneath the ring and relieve himself before getting back out there and finishing the job.
I proved myself once.
John.
No, really.
What? Like a
I just throw him away.
Number 5. As much as WWE loves to proclaim the rise of Big Match John, tackling Kurt Angle with ruthless aggression, kicking down the doors of an era and carving his own path with flat top haircuts and disappointing finishers, in reality, Cena started out in ridiculous fashion. Despite a stellar debut, Cena sort of fizzled out riding the ruthless aggression quote far further than he should have, and if he hadn't been caught freestyling by Stephanie McMahon, likely would have gotten the axe and been cut from the company altogether.
No, you're gonna squash Sable completely. You made all 5 of my girlfriends jealous. Each one of them wants to beat me.
Instead, Cena adopted a rapper gimmick of all things, while very entertaining, also contained a 90s level of casual homophobia. Seriously, go back to any of his rapping segments, it's pretty much just straight up Macho Man from Spider-Man.
You need to hit them sit-ups too. You're not exactly the leanest. Forget seeing me, bro. You can't see your own penis.
WWE loves to tout about two superstars having never tapped out to a submission before. Those being The Undertaker and Mr. Jonathan Cena. And because the only thing WWE loves more than that is rewriting its own history, of course both men have tapped out before. Taker's tapped out once to Kurt Angle.
The Undertaker is trying to gain some leverage. Wait a minute. Tapped out. I think The Undertaker just pinned Kurt Angle.
But John, pre-Big Match era, tapped on multiple occasions around 04 and 05. The most noteworthy of these occasions is far and away the least likely to ever be brought back up today, because not only did WWE's favorite poster boy go against his never give up slogan, he did it against Chris Benoit, the one person above all others Vince is never going to mention again.
Off the apron. Make sure to get physically involved.
Number 2, or should I phrase it, burying the ever-loving out of these unfortunate rookies just trying to do their jobs. Back in 2010, Wade Barrett and his band of yellow and blacked out boys were easily the most entertaining part of TV the Big Dub had going on. With random attacks and one of the best debuts in wrestling under their belt, Nexus brought a truly unpredictable nature to the TV screens. The angle culminated at SummerSlam 2010 with a match pitting Nexus against Team WWE, which in reality was just Jonathan C. Nation. Cena got to decide the finish for the match, and wanting the summer's biggest show to end with the fans cheering, Cena went ahead and called it babyface victory for the night's end. Unfortunately, he decided to superpower through a 2-on-1 against both Justin Gabriel and Barrett, taking a DDT on straight concrete before hulking up and powering through the duo. Genuinely the best example of Super Cena at his most destructive.
The last team standing will win this matchup. He did it! He did it! Team WWE, thanks to John Cena.
Alex Riley. And while we're on burying Boulevard, let's bring up John Cena's least favorite wrestler of all time, Alex Riley. For some reason, I still don't really know why he despised the man so much. Maybe because he was quickly elevated to the top of the card as Mrs. Lackley shortly after debuting, and arguably was not ready for such a push, and found himself working with Cena pretty often. But since Riley himself has confirmed the beef, at least we know the issues are real. Riley was actually pretty solid inside the ring, something he proved years later down in NXT. But in 2010, not only was he green as hell, but pissing the out of John Cena apparently, and his push would be stopped dead in the water after he and Miz finally split later that year. When you're as big a name as John, you can pretty much kill a career in an instant, just like Orton did to Mr. Kennedy. And for some reason, that's just what he did to Mr. Riley.
Miz needs to see this up close and personal. Oh, and now this! The STF locked in by John Cena, Alex Riley!
Number 6, this was weird. During the Nexus angle, Cena was defeated by the leader Wade Barrett with the stipulation that had he lost the match, he'd be banished from the Big Dub. He lost and ended up following through for all of about 10 minutes. Cena'd be back on your television screens the very next week, but ever the kayfabe keeper, John was scheduled to wrestle a few house shows before the next Monday's Raw and turned himself into a masked luchador of all things. Cena seriously put an unconvincing disguise of a mask on, called himself Juan Cena, and fought members of the Nexus on 3 separate occasions because apparently being banished from WWE means about as much as their commitments to be a star.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Little did he know he ran into Juan.
Hey, speaking of the Nexus angle, number 8, John Cena and Nikki Bella's relationship was weird, man. Like, go back and watch the fantastic Miz and Maurice skits heading into WrestleMania 34. They are shockingly accurate to the real thing. The pinnacle of their insanity was at the show's shows itself, with Cena and Bella toppling their far funnier pair before Cena dropped to a knee and popped the big question: would you like to do? Nikki, of course, accepted, and they lived happily ever after for, a good few months before splitting up. It's one of WWE's strangest publicity stunts of all time, a move I genuinely think 0 people fell for and or didn't see coming. It was predictable as all hell, and it just ended up strangely disappointing part of their history, as the pair would be split by the year's end.